Welcome back to Podcasting for Beginners with your host, Andrew Durning of Ginger Media Limited. Before we start, make sure to hit that big old subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. If you haven't watched the video about knowing your niche, I advise you go and check that out before we jump into this video. Okay, let's get started. Tech and software. You've figured out what your niche is, and now you want to start making the podcast. But wait, what tech do you need? A lot of people say that in order to do a podcast to start with, you just need your phone. And they're right. However, and this is where I disagree with most content creators, I think you need to have a strong quality of content before you start. If you're starting out in the podcasting game, everybody's looking for instant success and they want quality content. Well, I'm not saying that you need to go and invest in a 4K camera or a full studio. You can do that a little bit later on down the line. Starting out with just your phone can be a bit novice, in my opinion. Nothing against anybody that has started just using their phone. It's purely my own opinion. I personally think that you need to have a decent setup before you start. That includes things like microphone, webcam, lights, software to record it on. I know that it costs a lot to set it up, which is why I'm going to give you some tips on which ones I would recommend to keep the costs down. What type of microphone should you use? If you're doing something like this, where it's just you interviewing a guest online, I recommend a dynamic mic. It's basically like a karaoke mic. Picks up your voice and less of the background. If you're going into a studio, that's when you need condenser mics. They pick up all the noise around you. Only downside is they're extremely sensitive, so even hearing a slight bleed through from another room can instantly throw your sound quality out of whack. So think about what style of podcast you're starting out with and match your mic according to it. You can always go bigger as you get better. Raising cameras. If you're starting out, get a webcam. Just an HD ready one. You don't need to have a fancy one. You can get one off Amazon for like 20 quid now. I'm using a webcam right now, and I have been since I made the upgrade. Quality of the video is not too bad. What to record it on? If you've got the money behind you to go to a studio and get some professionals to do it, go for it. However, if you're starting out, keep the cost down. Use an existing laptop. I'd say that's better than using your phone. It also makes you feel a bit more professional as well, because you think, I've set up a wee studio in my dining room. Oh, this is so cool. It's just little things like that to help your mindset and keep the positivity going forward. Lighting. Again, if you're going for a studio, lighting can be provided there. If you're doing it from home, just get a ring light. It has 3 settings on it, so you can adjust to whatever time of day or night you're recording. You can get them for about £30 out of Tesco. At least that's where I got mine. And also invest in a microphone stand. I'm not talking the big ones that you see on, their talent shows and whatnot. But using the tripod one that you start out with a microphone, it's a bit too flimsy. If you're clumsy like me, you could knock your microphone when you're talking to your guest or laughing at a good thing that they've said. Tripod goes flying, mic broke, you're done. Which is why I recommend a weighted mic stand. This way, if you're doing something like this, it doesn't actually fly off the table and break. Again, you can get one off Amazon for like 15, 20 quid. The microphone itself, usually about £50, not pence. So if you got all that set up, it would be just over £100. If you want to go to the studio, it costs upwards of £300. You see where the savings are? Worried you don't have enough USB ports? You can get what's essentially a USB port extension cable. It's about £12 from Tesco. Fits about 4 USBs. Leaves you plenty of room for anything else. I know people will be wondering why I didn't mention headphones. Because to be honest, you've probably got a pair of headphones that will already work. Could be something as simple as this. £3, Tesco. Last thing I'll recommend, an external hard drive. Losing all your footage could be an absolute ball breaker if something happens. So always make sure to back it up to an external hard drive, just in case. Again, you can get one off of Amazon, roughly about 40 quid. We've covered tech, now on to software. If you're using a laptop, it's got a camera function on it, but I don't think the quality is as good. I recommend you use Zoom. Don't pay for it unless you're sure that you're going to go long term or have the money for it. I like to use the free one because it gives you a 40-minute time limit. And that just feels like Zoom's being the producer telling you, okay, Andrew, you've been on long enough, time to wrap this up. To me, that feels like it's a bit more professional because a real producer would do that. You can also use Zoom to get some funky backgrounds, like the one that I've got in this video. Editing software. If you're doing an audio podcast only, I recommend a program called Audacity. It's free, relatively straightforward to use, and I'll get you where you need to go. The only downside is it can be a bit of a pain in the ass when you're trying to fiddle about with it. Phrasing. If you do have the money, however, I suggest a software called Movavi. It can edit both video and audio files. Has a range of features that are pretty good to start out with, and if you have the money, you can always buy additional features. My license cost about £60. Again, not bad when you compare it to ones like Adobe. Final key things I want you to remember regarding software and tech. If you're just starting out in the podcast game, don't shell out more money than you have to. Microphone, webcam, mic stand, ring light. Do your research, make a budget, and only get what you really need to start out with. You can always upgrade as you go along. If you want more personalized advice on how to create a podcast, I do offer podcasting courses for both beginners, businesses, and those looking to grow current podcasts. Again, give me an email, we'll book a consultation. Tune in to the next video where we talk about content creation. Till next time, take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.